Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Professional Refinement series on the podcast. This is about my vocational engagement attempts. We're going to start with some bookmarks off of my browser to show you what I've been up to. And also I have a sheet of paper with some points to talk about and a map that I'm using from the local intelligence series. So basically from what I've investigated through passive, normal, ordinary daily life reconnaissance and observations, in other words, in my hometown here, Wrocław in Poland. And we're attempting to put it all together somehow. So it's exciting. It's been a lot of work, and I hope to make this continually, upon the future iterations, more spontaneous and adventurous, to the point, and sensible, and hopefully useful to others as well in their adventures into the heroic world out there. So let's get started in various ways here. Let's see. I have preloaded the things. Okay. Yeah, let's get right into something I preloaded. This is the security certification roadmap. In my browser, I'm showing it's something a fellow Paul Jeremy has done. pauljeremy.com/security-certification-roadmap. And this is just to point out again that, just a moment, I did something here and unnecessarily somewhere. Just a moment. Okay. This is to point out that as a web application security tester and InfoSec professional, I'm personally interested here in the security operations rightmost side of this certification roadmap. And this professional refinement series is about my attempts here to put together, I have done the CompTIA Security Plus, but most of my training and certifications and certificates are here on the lower security operations penetration testing side. That's my interest, and that's just where I'm heading. But there's a whole world, I would say almost, it seems like 95% of security certifications out there in the roadmap of all the career types you can have are not where I'm heading. So you have to find your own place. But I believe that understanding your own city and trying to find the right vocational engagement, in other words, work and employment and a job, there's a lot to understand. Okay, so that's that. That was important. That's on my sheet of things to do. And I also want to show another thing, which is a physical map in front of me here. Hold on a sec. Where is it? The map. Oh, maybe. Just a moment. Something's disappeared. Let me bring it back up. It's up. Okay. So, right. This is what I've printed out here in my own words. Just, web application security tester domain dimensions. I've noted something in my own text here that I think there's an improved one on Medium, on my online publication. This is just a personal printed note. Anyway, you can see here that at the top we have information technology IT specialist, but you can tell someone, yeah, I work in IT, I'm looking for a job in IT. Well, wow. So you're then skipping all these this hierarchy of where exactly it is that we are with, for example, vulnerability assessing, bug bounty hunting, and delivering reports that, doing recon. Above that is signal wizardry, doing it in a stealth way, information gathering, the types of recon there, and the fact that we're in the open source movement using OWASP, black box manual DAST testing, and we're on the offensive side, which I just showed, and it's the web application pen testing, and this could be a part of a red team. And then above this is the fact that you could be working in SSDLC, so secure software development, and the testing phase of your CI/CD. Above this is the fact that we're in application security, AppSec, which could be within network security in a certain way because you need a network to have applications on it and so on. You can if you're dealing with the web and the internet. And that is a part of cybersecurity, which is a part of security operations within InfoSec, within IT. So it's important to understand this, where you're at, because of the different branches of IT. I mean, there could be a million of them. So that's that. I wanted to show that that is a part of my professional refinement, to understand and organize, and that'll be a significant note in a moment. I'm just going back to me here visually. So I'm reading off something in front of me here. So the next thing I have is to show the local intel map again, briefly, which is now in front of me. There it is. And it's something I showed in my local intelligence series on Wrocław. So it's the fact that I'm trying to understand how it is I can participate in society with my skills. So why not in my hometown, in the immediate vicinity of where I live, physically where I am, because I'm a physical entity. I'm not a purely spiritual, metaphysical ghost. Okay, so, and we're dealing with hardware too in a certain spot. So why not understand how business and the governing structures of society are formed, how money flows, and to connect with the right things, and see on this map of many words, which I like I said, I showed earlier and won't be focusing on as much here, but web application security testing and Bitcoin itself is a part of the virtual infrastructure, for example, of the the civic budget here, which comes from the city, the municipal, the provincial area, the federal, and then it's related to Rzeczpospolita Polska. So I'm in Poland and I have to understand the culture. Even the security cultures here are different. The IT sector and the people that work in it speak and move and collaborate differently, or they don't collaborate. It's very different than North American culture and Canada, where I spent a lot of my years. And so you have to understand this, that we're talking about something that's a specialist work. Above that, there's professionals. So I'm doing a professional refinement by trying to understand more than just my specialization, because you can just learn a few tricks and start bug bounty hunting without much knowledge. And then the business operations here, and then so what kind of security experts are around? Above the city or within the city, there could be private detectives. Then you have the police. And then you have the military, and they have Europe and United Nations and secret and so on. Secret deals with time and the perception of time and so on. And you have to understand how this comes together at least once in your life, to have a framework and to guide yourself. So just wanted to mention that this is something that I build on and continue to work with. Back to me there visually. Right, so statements that I have here. Well, ideally, I should be able to work for my hometown city, which is Wrocław, which I love and wish to make better. That should make sense for anyone wherever they live. And this is perhaps part of the crisis with the virtual worlds right now, because people, are maybe less in touch with their local life and start to simulate what they're doing virtually online in actual physical reality, and that does not translate the same way, and more on that other times. But so at the moment, I happen to work all over the city physically, moving kilometers in all directions throughout the day in my other part-time to sometimes full-time in terms of weeks job, which I explained in the local intelligence series. That's interesting because I get to see how professionally where people are throughout the day in the business sector, the actual physical area of the buildings that are offices mostly, and then also in the civilian daily life of people in their homes and in and around their homes rather, and the neighborhoods and the communities in town, and where the developments are happening over time. You see change. There's a history to it. So. Now, but this is a professional refinement series episode, so I'm going to talk about briefly what I've completed. So I did some global to local intelligence gathering to refine what makes sense in the Wrocław InfoSec culture professionally. So I can briefly, this isn't an episode about this, but I'm going to show back to the browser here that I have a bookmarks tab that has to do with the Wrocław intelligence gathering that I'm doing. For example, the money system and the budgets, how the money flows, and then then also we have the primary businesses here and how they're structured. And since we're doing web application security testing, which organizations and perhaps NGOs are the ones to support my hometown, right? To support the virtual in order to support the actual real life, the moist biological environment that's on my major framework map there, because we're a part of the reality, which includes metaphysical aspects to the physical, such as actual elements around us, like the molecular structure of life, biochemistry, that you have ecology and evolution, biological life and nature and humanity, which we're a part of, and so on. But that's real. That's actually important. So who in town locally that I can walk to even is supporting the river that the city is based on, and the water and the air quality, and perhaps even the electromagnetic radiation that happens because of everyone having a cell phone and the cell towers, etc. So, what do I care about? And that's a part of my professional refinement research. Okay, just wanted to mention and show that. So a big thing that I worked on is that I write articles and theory. I call it philosophy and theory of InfoSec, and I created what I believe is a new human InfoSec intelligence communications protocol for values alignment. And I wrote a big article. Now, this would have taken like an entire week to put together. It's a synthesis of a few other articles, and it's huge to me. It's basically how, on a human level, you communicate security ideas between people of different dimensions with perhaps even different cultures. It's something I believe that's really necessary and important today, with the global to local news that I'm hearing and seeing, especially with the rising competition between nations, and the technological advancements that are happening at a rapid pace, far beyond what can be apprehended even on the risk management level, and so on. A lot to talk about there, but right. So that article is something I worked on deeply, and I have a whole episode recorded with this article reading and its explanation and my notes about it. So that took a while recently, and other such episodes and articles that I've written. That's something I've been doing professionally. Right. So I actually recorded about 25 podcast episodes. Right. So this would have been an important one. Let me show you. And I publish about them on my NOSTR clients, which are directly related to the fact that I created my own private key, and through my public key, I sign these notes and messages about my episodes, which can't be censored or taken down. Some of the topics I touch on are that important, I believe, and can be controversial in a way, but should be debatable openly. So as you see here, I'm showing visually the different videos from my playlists on Bitcoin Security Maps on the YouTube channel. Right, so I've been publishing those. That's taken a lot of professional refinement and work. Right, and so the audio versions of these are available, and I host them here on Podhome, and they're there, and you can instantly play them. And so I publish these on my LinkedIn profile as well. So, right, so that takes work. Next, then, and so I've been fine-tuning my entire organization to the point of almost exhaustion. And I make sure that everything is somewhere on a map and interconnects with all my work. Let me get back to me here. Right. So, but perhaps the most significant fun part was that I had an interview, and which I'll discuss in my CV update. And it took days to prepare, and then days to put together my plans for continuing in that direction, and awaiting further notice there. So the interview event allowed me to experience what I have to offer can be seen as valuable, precisely due to my ability for this deeper kind of comprehension and interconnection of where I'm at in terms of society. So another thing I wanted to show in relation here is that not only do I create my own content, but I tune in to the pulse of what I believe is everything from national security level, civilian interests on a philosophical kind of theoretical approach through various podcasts, such as What Bitcoin Did with Peter McCormack, and he interviews incredible people such as Jameson Lopp. Let me show that on here on screen, right? And so this is his podcast website, right? And you have all these episodes, and I select the ones that are mostly related to security in any way. I'm interested in the energy question, and this is a Bitcoin Security Maps podcast, and so this is very helpful, and I've been mapping and putting this together, and it helps me understand that what I'm doing makes sense, and that what they're doing also makes sense because of the profound amount of organization and observations I'm making. I also link a lot of the work that Jordan Peterson's podcast and his intellectual brilliance does and is helpful on so many levels, and increasingly so. I believe that his work is very relevant to national security, as I am, as he is, Canadian. We are concerned about the side of things on the Canadian national level, and I'm very excited to always entertain my note-making skills with his extensive ability to articulate and put together. I'm basically learning new words from him in the English language, and how to put together what I, in an abstract way, also observe and understand, but don't yet have the skills to talk about. And I believe he could be helped a lot by the information security industry and people who can tune into him and help him place the things he's saying on a map that could be related to those working in security, because he's helping people understand that there's something going on that is not necessarily visible. Let me show that on a map, because maybe, Jordan, you for some reason tune into this episode one day. And what I'm talking about now, oh my gosh, let me get this right. Okay, so I'm talking about the fact that Jordan Peterson and even Peter McCormack sometimes pull out questions that are brilliant, and their interviewees attempt to answer things, and they get really close to questions that the secret layer, what I'm calling secret layer, in my wacky philosophical, theoretical InfoSec meanderings and articles and episodes talk about. And that's why I intentionally publish those through my own personally created private keys in a way that would be uncensored. And so I answer, technologically at least, my own question of what if I'm censored by speaking about certain things, and I know that I wouldn't be. And so they're both coming across almost like evidence, well, no, certainly evidence that there's some manipulation from higher up hierarchies in society that appear to be perhaps even malevolent and all the way to evil, that infiltrate the minds of people through the various ways that civilization is structured. But some of these could in the near future be disclosed as actually authentic. And it could be a challenge for people to suddenly find out instead of have at least a warning about something coming. So that, so that's right. I'm just pointing with my pen here onto a map full of words, but yeah, I'm just saying that it's a part of my framework, these podcasts that I'm mentioning, and just going to return and show one more. So that was the Jordan Peterson one. And I also tune into, for example, Bug Bounty Reports Explained, BBRE with Grzegorz Niedziela, brilliant bug hunter who basically interviews some of the top ethical hackers out there at various levels with various dimensions and experiences, and has a whole community of people, and they help secure the technologies that we use and that I'm interested in as well. And that's part of my professional refinement, is to maintain the connection basically with what they have to say on their specialist level. And so let me just show that on the map, because so how does this relate? Well, I'm talking right now about specialists that work, and so I'm pointing to something on my map here, web application security and the testing here, and then even Bitcoin and how that relates to the virtual part of the infrastructure. So even like the websites of all those builders of society, of the physical infrastructures, and how, so through following the flow of money in my hometown of Wrocław, through my local intelligence series, there's a civic budget here assigned through, the offices of the municipality, that flow from the provincial and the federal and the actual, and so on, the nation and so on, and that's secured by the military and so on, and the EU and the United Nations Security Council and so on. And then there's layers above that are relatively secret in the security society out there. And there's the unknown unknowns, and then there's reality and metaphysics and so on. But you have to see that on a map, because if you don't, well, then you don't know your actual risk that you're taking, and you don't know your threat model. Most importantly, that should be a part of your basic daily existence at this point, fortunately or unfortunately, at least the knowledge of it. So it all relates to me, and part of my professional refinement is to relate it all together. So, right, that's all I have to say there. And the final notes that I wanted to say is that I'm going to be continuing on Hack the Box. So let me show you that. Certified Bug Bounty Hunting Certification is something that I'm going to be continuing. That is the direction that I'm completing and continuing professionally as part of my refinement of what I specialize in. And learning about information security analyst roles, for example, where I received an interview as a risk advisor and an analyst. So there's a difference between assessing vulnerabilities, then analyzing them, and then advising others on the findings, for example. And then each of those could be a career. So it's quite interesting how that can evolve for me, and I'm learning about the interconnections of that. Right, and so my final note on this professional refinement episode is the fact that I believe that my role here, what I'm finding, is that I might have to create a way to inspire people to act on creating a threat model for themselves and for life on Earth at this point, from what we're hearing in the global to local news. So in other words, I must find a way, it's almost like I feel my duty, to find a way to inspire people to build their threat models and to understand the threats before they happen, so that things like events like mass unnecessary demonstrations, or even warring, people suddenly angry without understanding, so that people don't have to do that. But I'm personally interested in the low probability but high impact events. So, major AI attacks, or nuclear war, or the disclosure of what I believe is actually the most probable at this point, but still low probability, but extremely high impact on all civilizations on the planet right now, is the disclosure movement pertaining to fuelless energy sources and deeper spirituality that are happening, that the U.S. Senate is on top of today as we speak. We're going to be hearing about this within the next few months by the year's end. So I'm interested in the connection between web application security all the way to national security, because I believe it's what I can be involved in, but in the direction of working with and for the right people, working for the right aims, with the right technologies, and so on. So that's all part of the mapping today. And that's all I had to share. Let me see, was there anything else? No. If you enjoyed this episode, like I did, let me know. Send me a note. Check out bitcoinsecuritymaps.com. Offer your support on the NOSTR clients through some Satoshis, and or fountain.fm, the app that you can stream Bitcoin as you listen. And I will see you at the meetups.